In this episode of Healthy Free Life, I'm going to be telling you why we cannot just talk about healthy eating when it comes to being truly healthy. Hi, my name is Katrina Sequenzia with HealthyFreeLife.com, and I am your health coach, and I teach you how to eat and live healthy for the glory of God. And so when we are talking about being healthy, having this healthy free life, right? That's what we're about here, healthy free life. We cannot just talk about healthy eating. We must consider other things. And today I want to talk about our spiritual health and the importance, the significance of our spiritual health as it relates to our physical health. Because you see, we are spiritual beings wrapped in flesh. One is connected to the other. They cannot be separated. When we are physically unhealthy, that affects our spiritual health. When we are spiritually unhealthy, when there's still work to be done spiritually, that absolutely affects our physical health. They're connected, and we must tend to both. We must care for both when it comes to being truly healthy. And I think that there might be a couple of reasons why we don't necessarily always connect the two, understand fully the spiritual and the physical connection. And I think there's two reasons. One is because of the culture that we live in. The diet industry does a really good job of helping us to focus on the physical. Lose weight, right? That's the diet industry's main thing, is to help us to lose weight so we can look good in a bikini, right? It's not what it's about, okay? And it doesn't help that media and magazines and everything else tell us the best, most beautiful images that we want to compare ourselves to, okay? So we really often think it's physical. We look in the mirror and we don't see beauty, right? And so I think that's one of the reasons our culture does not help us with that. The second thing is that in our churches, our pastors and our preachers and our priests, it's not always a topic that's talked about from the pulpit. And it's something that is often missing. They do such a phenomenal job in helping us to grow and develop our spiritual health. But when it comes to physical health, we are left wanting, we are left lacking in that department as to how to truly live and eat and how to live that life in accordance with true physical health. And the two are absolutely connected. And sure, we are really good, I believe, most of us are, when we are physically ill, or our child is sick, or a loved one has cancer, or we have cancer. We go to God in desperation for the healing of that. When I did that with my own health, when I struggled with disease, from chronic fatigue to allergies to asthma to infertility to all of the things that plagued me, anxiety and depression, when I went to God to that, I cried out to Him in prayer and said, God, please heal me from that. But His healing was not instant. His healing in my body was that He was leading me down a path of learning how to eat His glorious foods, to eat in a way that honored Him, and to eat in a way that brought healing and wholeness to my body. And therefore, as my physical health became improved, my spiritual health, I was glorifying God with my life. I was able to live out my purpose. They are absolutely connected. And so I want to read a couple of scriptures to you, because what I want you to understand, and this is the first truth that we're going to talk about today, is that your body is a temple. Okay, your body is a temple, and not just any temple. Your body is the temple to the Holy Spirit. God dwells within us. And so I want to talk to you first. I want to tell you what Paul's words are in 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. And then Paul goes on in 2 Corinthians 7:1. Dear friends, let's make a clean break with everything that defiles or distracts us, both within and without. Let us make our entire lives fit in holy temples for the worship of God. The Amplified Bible describes it as set apart for God's purpose. Okay? Our bodies, our lives are set apart for God's purpose. But we must understand the significance that our body is a temple, and that we, through how we eat and how we live, can be a worship to God, can be glorifying to Him. Perhaps we need to understand the significance of a temple, though, because I don't know that we view our bodies in a way that it is a temple. And so I think that we have to go back to the Old Testament, where God created the temple, okay? The temple of the Old Testament, before Christ came, before the Holy Spirit dwelled within the souls of man. We have to understand the significance of the temple of the Old Testament. And so starting in Exodus 25, and for chapters and chapters, God gives Moses details about his temple and how he wanted the tabernacle. And this temple was not going to be a building like we know now. This was going to be a tent, and a tent that was going to be erected with wood and cloth coverings, because this temple needed to be moved throughout the desert as they were wandering. And so if you were to start reading in Exodus 25 and know the detail that God put in to the building of that temple, from the type of wood to the size of that wood to the measurements of it, the linen that he used, how he talks to the details of the color of the blue and the red and the purple and the yarn. And he didn't just use any type of yarn. He used beautiful yarn, and he talks about the importance of the coverings, the gold, the silver, the bronze, the colors that were used for the stones that were placed in important places, the altar, the lampstand. It is incredible the detail that God goes in to the building of that temple. And then think about us, okay? His beloved, the one that he created. He goes to great detail in us in building of our physical temple and the inner temple as well. Who we are, right? Who we are personally, who we are with our personality and our giftedness. But then outside as well, he clothed us with beauty. He clothed us with beauty. And for us to see that beauty, I think is of utmost importance. For us to see the detail that he went into. And when we don't believe we're beautiful, who told you that you are not beautiful? God went to great lengths to knit you together. You are beautiful. God also goes on to tell Moses how to care for that temple, how the Levites were to, and Aaron and his sons were to care for that temple, and how important it was that the people who entered were cleansed and had sacrifices and were consecrated. And then to care for that temple, what had to go into the oil into the lampstands, from the cleaning and the cleansing of the temple, and the importance of taking it down and putting it up. I think that we can make connections with our New Testament temple, this body that holds the Holy Spirit. I think we can make connections now, and to realize that care must go in to caring for this temple, that it is of utmost importance to do that. And I think it's important for a couple of reasons. Not only are we representation, not only do we represent to the world who we are. And that temple, that tabernacle that God built, that represented him, right? That his holy self dwelled within the holiest of holies, the center part of that temple, to dwell among his people. And now that same spirit lives within us. And so I believe that our body is a representation to the rest of the world of who God is. And we should exemplify that in the way that we eat, and the way that we drink, and the way we care for our body, the way we believe it is beautiful. Okay, that's first and most important. But also think about it this way. Because we are now New Testament temples where God lives in us, and we are to go out and be the light into this world and to live out, to be the arms and the feet of Jesus in this world, in this sick and dying world. We need this temple to be well, physically and spiritually. Physically, because we need to go out and be able to have the energy to be free from disease, to be free from the things that are holding us back, the physical burdens that are holding us back from truly living out this life that God has given us to live. We need to be able to physically walk out this purpose, okay? Because God gave us. I mean, he talks about that when we go back to 1 Corinthians 6:19, that glorify God with your body because you were bought with a price, and you are going to go out and be the light to the rest of the world. And so we need to have that physical body. I need to be physically well now to live out this purpose that God is giving me right now. Okay, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm on a mission to change the world through Healthy Free Life, where I want to teach everyone how to eat and live healthy for the glory of God. That is my purpose right now, but I need to be healthy in order to live out the purpose that God has given me. But I also want to be able to live this out later in life, okay? So I'm not just talking about now, here in my 40s. I need to do this well into the decades ahead. I want in my 80s, my husband and I dream of still being on the mission field in our 80s, whatever that might be, whether it's here locally in my own community or whether it's to the other side of the world in Africa where I'm helping orphans. I need my body to be physically fit and physically healthy in order for my spirit to be able to go out and live out the purpose that God has given me. And that is significant. We cannot not care for our bodies right now. And that's what I do. That's why I want to teach you how to eat and live healthy for the glory of God. And so follow along with me, because in my health coaching programs, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to begin to remove the physical burden. So when Paul talks about how we need a clean break from everything that defiles or distracts us, both within and without, I want to help to remove the foods and the things in your life that are defiling us, that are not the best for our temple. I want to help to remove those from your life so that we can truly live lives fit and holy and worship God in the process. And so throughout my entire health coaching programs, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that. And then also in my health coaching programs, I talk about this spiritual health because we have to understand who we are, who God made us to be because of who He is. We need to understand that in order to be able to become truly healthy. And so I want to leave you with this. Romans 12:1. And I just echo these words that Paul has because these are my words for you too. And so, dear brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, think about God's mercy for a minute there, okay? He sent His only Son to die for us. We are His beloved. He loved us so much to come out of heaven to capture us that we want to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is truly the way to worship Him. So until next time, live loved.